I'm Saturday hauling for you guys today, and I'm going to start off with a skincare product, and this is a new one from Peach and Lily, which I love a lot of Peach and Lily skincare products. This is their new Pure Radiance Brightening Eye Cream. It says Illuminate and Depuff. It's 0.5 fluid ounces, and it is made in Korea. So this is the box packaging, and I've been wearing it in the morning all week, and it has a really nice kind of light cream texture to it. I've been layering it with my other like serum type products and stuff. You can see I haven't dipped into this component just yet because I've been working off what's on the little plastic kind of keeper that's in there, and it just feels so nice. Again, I still use my other like eye serums and stuff like that, but this is just another added kind of bit of moisture to it, and I use it in the morning because it does have that illuminate, depuff, brightening aspect to it, which I typically don't have a ton of like depuffing unless it's the upper lid. Like when I get puffy eyes, it's never like underneath, it's always like the hood. My really heavy hoods get like bigger. But I've really been enjoying it, so I'll just kind of read what it says on the box here. Triple action formula, improves the look of dark circles, puffiness, and under eye bags. Ooh, diglucosal gallic acid, that's a word. Caffeine and Korean herbal extracts work together to visibly brighten, depuff, and tighten while hydrating and nourishing. Transform your under eyes to pure radiance. Can be used AM and PM. I've just been using it in the morning thus far, layering it, and I've really been enjoying it. The consistency of it is super, super nice. It's like just very, very smooth product. So been enjoying this guy. Again, that's a new one from Peach and Lily. It's their Pure Radiance Brightening Eye Cream. And then I may have found a dupe, or at least the closest thing to a dupe to the Flower Nose Circus Under Eye Setting Powder that you guys hear me talk about all the time. It's a discontinued product from the Flower Nose brand. I kind of started purchasing Flower Nose when they were like unknowns. They didn't have a website, like their own website up at the time, so I had purchased it off of I think it was some Chinese retailers' websites or whatever, but this collection is no longer in existence. So I went to two different retailers. One was Chic Decent, and the other one was E.L.F or something. Jeez, I can't even remember. And I stocked up, so I've got several of these in backup, but it is the best, most undetectable, beautiful under eye setting powder I have ever used, and I have used a lot. I've used a lot of powders and a lot of primarily trying to find something that's flawless underneath the eyes, you know, undetectable, good setting type of deal. This is it, right? So I've been on a mission to find a dupe for it because there's nothing quite like that powder, and especially again for those like fine lines under eyes and setting concealer where you don't want to really like notice product on your face, you know. And I bought the new Ulta Beauty, so look, I've still got some in the cover, so I don't want to tip it upside down, but I got the new Ulta Beauty color correcting setting powder. It's a hyaluronic acid setting powder, and it was new like in the new section when you go on the Ulta website. And so I looked at the ingredients on it, and the third ingredient is water. And that's what I was looking for in the ingredient deck when I was buying powders, trying to find one similar to Flower Nose, because that is one of the top ingredients in that powder is water. And I've went through quite a few duds that were nothing like that with water as the ingredient. So I wasn't like super hopeful that I was going to find like almost a dupe to that powder in this one here, but I was like, it was cheap enough. I think it's only like $14 or something like that. So I gave it a whirl, and let me tell you, I've been like reaching for this one a little, like right now currently, a little bit more than the Flower Nose one. And I do mix the Flower Nose with the Huda Cherry Blossom Cake or either the ube powder just to give it a little bit more pink or like brightness factor to it. But this is amazing, and it comes in a translucent, and I think that there is a yellow toned one and maybe one other deeper one. And I'm gonna get another shade of this as well because I want to try that out. So the one that I actually got here, the color, I don't want to like is Pink Rose, 0.25 ounces of product. And this guy here is made in Canada. So there were actually two little tabs. I just pulled off one on this side so that I don't get too much powder off. But yeah, this is the closest thing that I have found to the Flower Nose Circus powder. And it's totally, especially for the affordable price range, totally worth a try. I've got it underneath my eyes today. It's very undetectable. It has a really good set to it. It blurs super nice. Again, this is the pink one. And it just feels like silk, just like the Flower Nose powder. And oddly enough, there's something about it. not that either one of those are scented, but like an ingredient type of scent that is similar between those two, which I really find interesting. So yeah, I am I don't think the Ulta is going to be like getting rid of this powder anytime soon because it just came out, but I'm going to be grabbing a couple backups and I'm going to dabble in a couple of the different shades as well because I want to show you guys the lid so you can see what powder it is. I'll just have to try to tap this back in the container here. It's this powder right here. Again, it's from the Ulta Beauty range and the shade I got is Pink Rose Color Correcting Setting Powder. I also grabbed one of these new blushes from Revolution. It's the Silk Blush Blusher Stick, and I just got one of them to see if I would like it because you guys know I'm into the underpainting with the creams and stuff right now. So this is the Pinched Light Pink Marble Effect blush stick. 0.15 ounces of product in here, and this is made in China. So this is the box packaging, and this is actually the blush that I've got on my face today. I've got it just kind of on all the points that I put a little bit of blush, forehead, dash on the nose, cheeks, and then a little bit on the chin. And I've really been enjoying this guy. I find that it's really easy to apply because it's in that like stick format, and it's almost got like a slightly, not powdery exactly, but it's got a slight matte feel to it, and it's just really easy to work with. So you can see that it's got this like marbling to it. I'll show you guys how much product is in here. Not a ton, but I mean, it'll take a while to use it up, you know, if you use it every day and stuff. So I either put it on the back of my hand and then like dab my sponge in and then go into my cheeks, or either I can just put the sponge directly on the product. I haven't been swiping it on. I just been using it like that because this one doesn't have SPF. So if I swipe it over unset like foundation, you know, and do the drawing thing, it's going to move my SPF base. So like with the CL products, I didn't mind as much with the bronzing stick because that's kind of a firm product and it does move the base. But because that has SPF in it as well, I didn't like mind. But anyway, so that's how I've been using it to apply, and I really like it. It's got great pigmentation, blends out super nice. I think you can kind of see that blurring effect when I blend it out, and it almost does go, like when I'm swatching it with my fingers here, to a powder kind of a finish. It's just really pretty, so I believe I'll pick up a few more of these. So again, that is from Revolution. It's the Pinched Light Pink Blush Stick, Silk Blush Stick right there, and that's what I've got on my cheeks today. I also grabbed 3 products from the E.L.F. camo range, also liquid products because I'm into it. So I grabbed one of the bronzer and contours and 2 of the blushes. So the bronzer contour that I got, it says high pigment, 0.13 fluid ounces of product. I got the shade 2 Fair Light, and this guy here is made in China, so that's the box packaging. And I do like the delivery system, like the doe foot, you know, applicator is just really easy for application, either on the back of your hand to like pounce a sponge in or just kind of dab some on your cheeks. And I like this product, but maybe I just need to get a little bit of a deeper shade. I just find myself using a lot of it to kind of get the desired effect. So this is what I've got on my face today to bronze contour, and I kind of underpainted, you know, and then set everything on my face. And it's a great color. It's a really cool toned, pretty bronze shade. But when maybe the sponge absorbs a bunch of it. I don't think so though. But like when I do that, it kind of makes me think maybe the sponge does, but like it doesn't absorb like it's already got like foundation and stuff, and it doesn't like absorb all that. So I don't know what the deal is, but I do find myself when I use this product, I have to use quite a bit of it to get the desired effect. Other than using a lot of product, it blends out really nice and the color is really pretty too. So I might very well grab a deeper shade of this guy because this is again the shade 2 Fair Light. And that is the E.L.F. Camo Liquid Bronzer in Contour right there. And then again, I also grabbed 2 of the blushes. These ones have got 0.13 fluid ounces of product, and these are also made in China. So I got a purple and like a tangerine coral shade. And so this shade here, what is it called? Coral Crush. This shade here, I can kind of use like a normal amount of product. A couple dots, blend it out. Great. The other shade in Boldface Lilac, I find that I do have to layer this one up to get the intensity much like the bronzer. And maybe it's because my skin is quite pink. And so maybe it absorbs some of the pink in this as opposed to the orange. I'm not sure, but I'm not quite sure, but that is the difference between the two. Formulations obviously the same. I just have to build up this color a little bit more than this one. So the Boldface Lilac shade will give you a swatch right here. So this one again is Boldface Lilac, and then the other shade that I got is Coral Crush. And these are really nice too. Like E.L.F. just makes really nice affordable products in general, but really, really pretty shades. So it's a real dusty kind of a lilac. It's not quite as bright as I thought it was going to be, like on the skin. But you can see the Coral Crush shade is quite bright, and I just love that bright pop. I just wish this one here was a little bit brighter, not quite so dusty, I guess. But again, that's Boldface Lilac, and this one is Coral Crush. Same thing, formulation is nice. They blend out really nice as well. One thing that I did notice, especially when I have to use more product, like with this like dusty like lilac shade, and then also the bronzer, is the more product I have to put on of that, because it's got like this serum-y almost kind of a texture to it. I can see it kind of picking up foundation or blending into that foundation, as opposed to kind of going over the top of it, even though I'm pouncing instead of swiping. So, and that typically happens the more product that I use. So I just do want to make note of that. So that's probably the biggest reason why I'm not super crazy about having to use so much of the cream, because I really don't want to disturb any like base product with SPF on it. You guys know how I feel about that. So, but those are my thoughts on those guys right there. Again, those are the E.L.F. Camo liquid blushes right there. I also picked up 2 more of the new Fenty Gloss Bomb sticks, the High Shimmer Gloss Stick. So I had hauled one last week, the purple one, which I'll swatch with these other 2 that I got as well. But I am just over the moon for these lip products. I've got one on my lips today in the shade Flamingo Fling, and they're so shiny and juicy, and like for such a shiny type of a product like this, I'm surprised that it doesn't like goop up on the inner rim of the mouth as much as I think that it should. Like I've had this on for, I don't know, probably 2 hours, and I don't have any like inner rim film from these products, and they're really hydrating, and they're just so shiny and pretty, and they smell like a sweet tart or something along those lines. So anyway, I got 2 more of them because they're great. So these have got 0.12 ounces of product in them, and they are made in Korea. So this is the box packaging. I absolutely love that the packaging is color coded. I love, love, love that. All brands take note. So let me go ahead and swatch the Flamingo Fling, which is on my lips today. Like, look how much I've worn this already. I'll even put just a bit more on, just for fun. It is so pretty. Last week's video I was wearing the lilac one, but I'm wearing it with the Kosas lip liner in Max that I also hauled last week. Such a like versatile lip liner, but isn't that beautiful? So that one again is Flamingo Fling. And then I also got Fenty Glow, which for me pulls a little bit darker and a little bit more orange than I was kind of thinking that it would on, but it's still really pretty, and it looks also really good with that Max lip liner from Kosas. It doesn't go on as dark as it looks in the tube there, but my lips do have a decent amount of pigmentation, but that's also just a really pretty nude shade, but it's got a warm, kind of almost a warmish red kind of undertone to it. So that one is Fenty Glow #1. And then so you can see them together, I'll swatch the Icy Amethyst that I hauled last week, which whew, this is so beautiful. So here is Icy Amethyst. I love these. I absolutely love these. I think I'm going to get the tangerine one as well, because look at them. So those are the new Fenty Gloss Bomb Sticks High Shimmer Gloss Sticks, and they are nothing short of amazing. I also finally grabbed the Kosas Revealer Extra Bright Serum Powered Color Corrector in the shade Magic, and this had been in and out of my cart since it launched, and the reviews were just kind of all over the place, and I was like, well, it's probably going to be too big pink, it's probably going to be too dark, you know, so I just kept putting it off. And then I kind of did the same back and forth thing with the new Kosas powder, which is also what I used to set my face today. I'd hauled this last week as well. I love this. I love that pink powder. So after I tried that, I was like, you know what, try it for yourself, because I've been finding really enjoying things that I was really questionable because of what I had heard about them prior to. And so I'm going to try not to do that anymore, just try them for myself. So that's what I did with this product. And it has more coverage and a slightly thicker texture than the original Kosas concealer, which I'll swatch the shade that I have since I have it next to it. So when I first used it, I kind of did my normal swipes. And I think that was just too much. But it still didn't look bad even though I did that. It's just the next day I was like, I'm just going to use like a dot in the inner corner. So I just dab like that, and that's what I did today. This is the product that I've got underneath my eyes, and it's just beautiful like that. It's just plenty to brighten and cover that darker area of my eyes, which is typically right here where I like to kind of brighten and use concealer. And then whatever was on my sponge, I just took it out to the cheekbone. And it's not too pink for me when I use the proper amount. So again, this is Magic, and there's a total of 0.17 fluid ounces of product. It's the Revealer Extra Bright Serum Powered Color Corrector. I think I said that already. Made in the USA. So this is the box packaging. And then we'll give you a swatch here. It's got a little doe foot. So you can definitely see the pink in there. But if we blend it out like that, you can see that it's not quite as pink once it's kind of sheared out a little bit. And I set this with the Ulta powder that I just showed you guys. And I really have been enjoying that. I've really been enjoying that powder, and I've really been enjoying that brightener. So let me swatch the concealer I have in 0.7C, which has got a slightly different kind of doe foot. You know what? I've been meaning to, and I've just been forgetting, but I want to mix these two products and use them underneath the eyes as well at some point. So there's Magic and there's 0.7C in the concealer. I like the differentiation in packaging as well. I think that's quite fun. But I've really been enjoying this. Again, this is the Kosas Revealer Extra Bright Serum Powered Color Corrector. And I do want to mix this with some other concealers as well that I would like a little bit more coverage and a little bit more pink too as well. So that's going to be fun to kind of just do that playing around mixing game with it. I also grabbed the new Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewy Flush. It doesn't say blush on here, it just says tinted serum, but I love the Watermelon Glow products. I haven't tried, I don't think, anything in the Watermelon Glow range from Glow Recipe that I haven't liked. So I spritzed my face earlier with the mist, which I've been through so many of those, and I absolutely love the dewdrops. I've been through several of those as well. I love the sun tinted ones, and I didn't know, but there's a rosy version of those. So I will be picking those up as well, because you guys know I'm a rosy skinned individual. So this is kind of their blush version, and I was kind of on the fence about this as well. But because, again, I love these Watermelon Glow products so well, I just decided to go for it. And I thought that I grabbed the deeper of the two, because I knew it was going to be a more sheer product. So I wanted to get the most bang for my buck with pigmentation. But I guess I didn't. I think this is the lighter of the two. So this is Watermelon Flush, 12 milliliters or 0.4 fluid ounces of product in here, and this is made in the USA. So I love the consistency of the product. It is a serum type texture, and I really went into it thinking I was going to be underwhelmed because of the serum aspect, like it wasn't going to have enough pigmentation. And it does. And it's just got this really beautiful, like, lit from within rosy flush to the cheeks when I use it for underpainting. And I've really been enjoying it. So I am glad that I picked it up. I may very well get the other shade as well. So the packaging, as opposed to a pump, has got a doe foot in there. And then we'll give you a swatch. It's got the most beautiful texture. Similar to that of the dewdrops. Oh, I think I put that over the concealer. Let me grab it off of there and go down a little bit. So you can see, like, if I were to pat it, pretend my fingers like the sponge, or if you use your fingers for cream products, you can see what a pretty flush that gives. And it's got that same watermelon, light watermelon scent to it. So if I just leave that there, and then I'm going to put a little bit more on, and then tap it out much the same way, then you can kind of see about the amount of pigmentation that I put on when I use it. It's just really pretty, really glowy, and the ingredients in the Glow Recipe products are great. I use several of their skincare products every single day. So yeah, I am glad that I picked this up as well. You really can't overdo it with this product either, so you can be quite generous and not have to worry about like overdone like cheeks, you know. So just very, very pretty. So that is the Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewy Flush in Watermelon Flush right there. Another thing I could do with that glow recipe is grab some of it and mix it in with the dewdrops as well, and I could give myself my own dewy, rosy dewdrops because I use those every single morning as part of my skincare routine. So that would just add a little bit more, you know, pink flush to the drops, but I'm still going to pick up the rosy version of the dewdrops. Next, I placed an order at Beautylish. The Anna Sui Shiny Eye Color in 001 came back into stock. I really wanted this shade. This has got 1.4 grams of product, or 0.04 ounces. And the packaging on these is just the cutest. I had hauled one in a yellow a few weeks ago that I wanted to use for underneath the brow with my Adept Cosmetics Cyborg Choir palette. But this is just going to be a really good one to pair with all kinds of other palettes to use as a highlight shade, both underneath the brow and on the lid. There's a butterfly on the front and you can slightly see the shade inside. But it's got like this, a couple little speckles of like gold and blue in it, but primarily it's a shimmery white, and there is a butterfly embossed in there as well. Yeah, Anna Sui products are usually always heavily scented with rose, this one as well, but I never really have any issues with the fragrance on my face, so it's really pretty though. So that's the 001 shade in the Shiny Eye Color right there. And then also Mob Beauty came out with cake eyeliners. You guys know what a fan I am of cake eyeliners. I love the fluidity that you can get with a brush mixing with a mixing medium or water to do winged liner. There's just something so crisp and inky about them. I've always loved cake liners, but I've struggled primarily spring, summertime because of allergies, because my eyes water so bad. So I do mix the ones that not all cake liners will mix with a mixing medium. Sometimes they just create this film over the top and you have to scrape it off so you can reactivate it with just water. But the Master Metal Manipulator from Makeup by Mario does mix in with these new Mob Beauty ones and several of my other cake liners as well, but this product has been discontinued. And I recall there is a makeup artist brand, I want to say it was Mayron, but they have the, whatever brand that is, I'm going to try to find out what brand that is. They make the same medium with the same exact ingredients, and I believe it comes in a much larger packaging than this. I actually just finished up the first tube of this that I had purchased, and I had bought a backup of this prior to them discontinuing it. So this is what I've been using with the cake liners, because if I just use water activated, that means my teary eyes will activate the liner if it ends up in that area quicker than if I mix it with a mixing medium like that Makeup by Mario. So that's what I've been using, but these are water activated cake eyeliners. That is a long-winded intro to these products. So I bought 6 shades. I believe there are 7 in total. The other one was like a really light yellow, and I don't think I'd have much of a use for that shade because I always like a tinted liquid liner for the upper lash line, but I like it to be inky and dark with this hue of either green or purple or brown, but it's also definitive, you know, so I didn't pick up that one. So each of these comes individually packaged. This is the box packaging. There is a total of 0.06 ounces or 1.8 grams, and these are made in Canada. And then the pan, prior to putting it in the palette that I'll show you, comes in this little sleeve, which is just totally like usable to keep the eyeliner in as well. It is a kind of thicker, heavy duty kind of cardboard packaging, and then you'll be able to see the name underneath. But I did buy a palette just to put these in, and so this is the plastic palette, which also comes in a sleeve. So you do buy these palettes separately. This one here is made in China. So one of the things, and I mentioned this before, I did a video on Mob Beauty, I think before they were even carried at Beautylish. And I like the whole concept, and I really like their eyeshadows and the palette that I put together when I did that video. But I just get confused with all of this packaging, because really all you need to do is put them in a pan and then throw them in a magnetic palette. You know what I mean? In any event, the palette that does house them is like a thicker, nicer kind of plastic packaging. I just sometimes get confused by, like, why not just leave them in a pan? But whatever. Anyway, so there is a little layer that goes down like this, and then here are your eyeshadow pans. So they're surrounded by a plastic and then the numbers on the back, but they're housed in a pan, as you can see there. So let me put this back real quick before I drop it. So I've got 2 spaces right here. So whatever 2 shades I probably find myself using the most, I'll probably repurchase those just so I can fill this palette, because there are 2 empty spaces. So this shade right here is M116. This one is M101. This one is M89, M41, and M140, which is the liner that I've got on my upper lash line today. You can see it's a really, really deep eggplant purple shade, which again, I love that all of these shades look very definitive and inky on the eyes. And then this shade here is M90. So these 2 shades here, they confuse me a little bit because they both look black. When I use both of them, they both look black. But I believe it's this shade, the M41 shade. When I wipe my makeup off, or like after I get out of the shower, even though I use my oil cleanse and stuff, there's just a little bit of like a teal residue on my upper lash line. So I'm like, is that supposed to be like a black and teal? I'm not sure because they both appear very black on me, like, and they look black in the pan. Maybe this one's just ever so slightly more charcoal, like gray charcoal, but again, both on me, I don't see much of a difference. So I do want to make mention of that. And then this shade here is M101. I was a little worried that wasn't going to kind of be like dark enough, but oh, it's pretty. And so is this brown. Very, very pretty, inky, dark, like cake liner shades. I've been loving, but even though those 2 black shades are very similar, if not the same on me, I love every single shade. I love the formulation. I love how inky they go on. They just look really nice, and they're super easy to use with the Makeup by Mario manipulator. If you remember which mixing medium has those same ingredients and you want to pop it down below, I'd love to know, because I will buy it. So yeah, I got this guy here from Mob Beauty. I hope that they do more shades, because I'd really like an actual, like a brighter deepened teal and a green, like a deep forest inky green shade. That would be nice to put in those 2 slots right there. So yeah, I got those from Mob Beauty. And that's actually everything that I got in that I purchased. I did get in some really lovely PR packages. This first one is a new launch from Nomad Cosmetics. They just revealed the palette on Instagram today. So this launches on March 11th around 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pacific Standard Time would be 9 p.m. PST on Monday night is what it says via their Instagram account. Oh, this palette, you guys, this palette is so beautiful. This is one of those palettes, and I've been very good about not doing this with eyeshadow palettes. The last backup that I purchased is the Cyborg Choir from Adept. I'm fairly certain that I'm going to buy another one of these because it's just so stunning. I just want to have one to keep pristine. So the palette they're launching is Fairy Tale Europe. Haunted Europe is one of my absolute favorite palettes ever in my whole collection. I also love Haunted USA. There's actually several Nomad Cosmetics palettes that I adore. I started out, I've mentioned this several times, I've started out purchasing Nomad Cosmetics, bought all the stuff they had available, and then I was lucky enough to get on their PR list, which I'm super, super grateful for because I'm such a fan. I am such a fan. And this box packaging, I'm not going to be able to throw this away. It's got this beautiful reflectiveness. This is like all the colors and the birds, the rabbit, the castle. It's just so pretty. This is just the box. So it says on the back, Destination Enchanted Europe, coordinates in a land far, far away, inspiration happily ever after. Cruelty-free and vegan. And it says, proud supporter of UNESCO World Heritage Center. Tinkerbell sparkles, princess hues, and storybook neutrals formulated with extra fine pigments and prismatic pearls for fairy tale feel and magical color payoff. Infused with apple fruit extract to Help skin look as fresh as Sleeping Beauty. 6 versatile mattes paired with 8 Belle of the Ball shimmers and 4 transforming multichromes inspired by Happily Ever After in Fairy Tale Europe. This is such a wonderfully put together, beautiful eyeshadow palette. They do use a nice paper housed over the shadows in the palette, and there's also this little like leaflet in there. Typically they've got a postcard, but this one here has got, it's a little story. Dear gentle reader. I wonder where that's coming from. Bridgerton, right? There's a little story book inside of there as opposed to the postcard that they usually do. So this is the palette that I've got on my eyes today. I've been having a hard time not using any other palette at the moment because I just love this so much. The actual packaging has got this beautiful, colorful iridescence to it. You can see in the outside there. And then this is 3D'd, so the castle component here is like a thicker cardboard on top of the rest of the palette, like, which I also love that detail. This gives me like a lot of nostalgia because it gives me early Too Faced vibes when they used to do this really pretty princessy type packaging, you know? It's just stunning, and I'm gonna probably buy another one. So there are 18 shades, 0.05 ounces a piece, or 1.5 grams, which is a ton of product. So again, the outside is beautiful, and then here's the inside. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of all? And it's got all the detail on there, and then the background is detailed. It's just stunning. So the bottom 6 shades are mattes, and then the top 2 rows are the shimmers and the multichromes. And I found that I really like to even use these deeper shimmers. Like today I used this deep purple as a blend out shade for this deep brown. And like no matter what type of combination, both shimmers and mattes that I use, I love every single look that I've done out of here. I just don't think that there's a color combination that you can go wrong with. And these shimmers are just, they're just beautiful. So let me get swatching so you guys can see all the rage. I wore this one on the lid yesterday, and I did get a little bit of staining with that pink shade. So I do want to make mention of that. But aren't those beautiful? And then these next shades. This is a multi-chrome shade. It's beautiful. It looks white, but it's got this really kind of golden pink iridescence to it. And the shades are pigmented, they blend well, none of them are too hard pressed, they pick up well on a brush. Some of the ones with some more like sparkle to them, you do want to make sure to kind of tap off your brush. And they all have this really pretty embossing in them, which sometimes when you first like stick a brush inside of a shade like that, it's kind of the embossing that kind of flakes off of the top. But you can see I've kind of ruined all the embossing. I've worn, I think I've worn every single shade in here. And then onto these mattes, which are silky, silky smooth. You know what? I should look too. Because didn't Haunted Europe come back into stock around Halloween? I kind of want to pick up a backup of that as well. Just to keep, I don't know, just to keep pristine and pretty. Because I love that palette. And then these last two. Such a stunning, stunning launch from Nomad. Again, this launches on Tuesday. So this is the Fairy Tale Europe eyeshadow palette. And this is what I have got on my eyes today as well. And then lastly, What's Up Beauty came out with new face powders, and they also launched a new powder brush. So I'll start off with the powder brush. And the last launch they did were some blushes and some bronzers. And prior to me doing the whole cream thing, those bronzers were my go-tos. I think I'm close to hitting pan on 10 and 2. Those bronzers are so beautiful. The number 1 and 2 shade for me are kind of it, but if I use the tan one, I just have to be a little bit lighter handed because obviously it's darker. But I love the formulation of those. It's like a marbled, slightly stiffer pressed formula, so you don't really have to worry about like overdoing it, and they blend out so beautifully on the skin. So I love those. There are quite a few products from What's Up Beauty that I love, and their brushes are no exception as well. So these are handmade Japanese makeup brushes. I love the pink handle with the satin black ferrule on there. So this is their new R204 powder brush. Right here is the case that it comes in. And they make amazing eye brushes as well. And so this one here, it's domed, but it's pinched on the side. So a brush like this can be really versatile for a lot of things. Good for dusting setting powder, or also you can use them, like I've primarily been using this to buff over my face finishing powder. I was trying to find the Morphe one, which is also what I've got on my skin today, and just really doing a nice all over buffing of it. I've used it with the powders as well, but I haven't been using the powders quite as much because they are a bit more full coverage, thicker texture, and they are also pressed, which usually a pressed powder is a little bit heavier on the skin than a loose powder, at least for me. And I'll get into those in a second, but this powder brush is really, really pretty. It's got a slightly more firm texture to it, so it's going to pick up powder products really, really well. So if you've got one that's quite soft, like a really, really soft pressed powder, you might want to go with something a little bit softer, because this one does have a bit of firmness to it. But it's still really soft and it buffs really well. So again, I've just been using it for finishing powder at the moment. But this is the R204 right here. And then their powders are called Wind Dancer Pressed Setting Powder. So they sent me all 4 shades, and I'll swatch all 4 shades so you can see the tones and everything. They're talc-free, clean, cruelty-free, and vegan. And these have got 9 grams or 0.32 ounces of product, and they are made in China. So here is the box packaging. So this formulation, the second ingredient is kaolin, which is like kaolin clay. And the nature of a clay product just is a little bit thicker of a texture. So I've been meaning to kind of try these almost like a powder foundation, because with like the tackiness and all the creams that I have on my face, this just grabs too much powder, and it ends up looking a little bit too heavier on my skin for how I like. So I kind of want to dabble with it to see what it might do like as a powder foundation. But it does say formulated with kaolin clay, known to reduce shine, and hydrating ingredients panthenol, trehalose, shea, and cocoa butter. So here's the actual packaging. This one is light. So how I've been using them like now, so I had like a blemish or something, and this is kind of how I use like powder foundations a lot, just because it's so much easier. I'll finish my whole face and say I have a little red spot sticking out or something, right? I just take a little pinpoint brush, like a little pencil brush. I pick up a powder foundation that matches my skin tone, and I put it over the top like that, and blend it, and you can't even see it. So that's kind of what I've been doing. So again, this is the light version. This one did have an embossed butterfly. You'll be able to see the butterfly embossing a little bit better on the other shades, because I've worn this one down a bit. So that is the light one right there. And then we've got the shade medium. And as we go a little bit deeper in the shades, they do tend to pull a little bit more yellow on my skin tone, but that is the medium shade. And then here is the shade tan, which tan and deep I actually might dabble with using kind of like a light bronzer kind of a shade. And see how that kind of works when I get back into using powder bronzer, which I'm just into the cream right now. But that is the shade tan. And then here's the shade deep, which this might actually buff out to be a really pretty bronzer on my skin tone. But a pretty good little shade range for 4 shades between light, medium, and kind of deep there. So that is deep. We got light, medium, tan, and deep right there. And those are new from What's Up Beauty. They're their Wind Dancer. I love the name of these, Wind Dancer. I just love that name. So press setting powders right there. And a huge thank you to What's Up Beauty for sending me over their latest launch as well. And that is everything that I have for the haul today. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I will see you guys later. Bye.